The New York Giants will be hosting the Carolina Panthers in their preseason Week 2 matchup this Friday at East Rutherford. And we are going to be live on the channel doing our watch party, and I want you to be there, so subscribe and turn your notifications on. But before we get into the preview and is Daniel Jones going to play, Brian Daboll had some pretty interesting words about that. I want to get your words about this. Who do you got? Who's going to win the football game? Is it the Giants? Is it the Panthers? Type NYG for the Giants or CAR for the Carolina Panthers. Let's start it off with what Brian Daboll had to say when he was asked by a reporter. The reporter pretty much asked him, has it gotten to a point in Daniel Jones' career where you've known him enough where he doesn't need to play in the preseason? And he pretty much said no, and he hinted that Daniel Jones will play. This was the quote. He said, "We'll talk about that at the end of the week." Again, these decisions really are made toward the end of the week, like I've told you guys. There's a lot of research and communication that goes into it, but I'd anticipate Daniel Jones playing. And this is good news, if you ask me, because I feel like the quarterback position is a little bit different than every other position on the football field. It's one of those jobs where you need to go out and see some live action. You need to see the bullets flying around before you line up under center Week 1 Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. Because playing quarterback in training camp when you got the red non-contact jersey on is much, much different than playing in a real game where every single defensive lineman is trying to crack you in half. I'd like to see the starters play. And it sounds like Daniel Jones and some other guys will, at least according to Daboll, who said, we sit down, we discuss it with the appropriate people that I talked to you guys about, and make the decisions that we thought was best. I'd say there is some good competitive situations right now going on our team, and some young guys that we want to take a look at. Now, what do we do next week? That will be determined throughout this week. We will see what we are at with all those numbers and sit down at the end of the week and make a decision that we feel is best. So to me, it sounds like they are definitely weighing the idea of starters playing. And if you turn the clock back to the preseason in 2022, most of the starters did play. Daniel Jones played in 2 games, and we saw some other starters play. I don't remember Saquon Barkley being out there. He did not play to my memory, but we saw Daniel Jones play a quarter in that first preseason game. We saw Kayvon Thibodeau play against the Cincinnati Bengals. I remember that because he hurt his MCL. There are some guys that I do not want to see suit up and some guys that I want to remain in bubble wrap. But I'll ask you this question. Do you want the starters to play in the preseason? It's always a tricky question because you need to be ready to go Week 1 against the Cowboys. And the only way to get game ready is play games. And that's what you got. You got 2 more of them in the preseason. But you got to balance the idea of getting ready versus the risk of getting hurt. So you be the GM. You be the coach. Do you want the starters to play in the preseason? Type P for play. Type R for rest. Let me know what you think. I do want to see Daniel Jones play, and I do want to see some of the starters play. But there's 4 guys that I don't need to see on a football field till Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. And that's Saquon Barkley. I don't need to see him in the preseason. I know who number 26 is, and I know what number 26 is about. Don't put him out there. Another guy that doesn't need to touch the football field until Sunday night is Darren Waller. He has not played in the preseason, I believe, dating back all the way to 2019. We know that he has an injury-prone status that is carried with him since coming over from the Raiders the last 2 seasons. There's no need to risk it. Let's have him ready to go Week 1. Also, I don't need to see Andrew Thomas out there. I know if you put Daniel Jones out there, you probably want to protect him with his left tackle, but I would rather not see him out there. Another guy, Dexter Lawrence, big number 97, the $100 million man. I also don't think he is somebody that needs to be out there. A player that I do want to see more from, though, is Eric Gray, the 5th-round selection, the running back out of Oklahoma. He did lead the running backs in snaps during that game against the Lions, but he only had like 5 carries. I want to see more usage of Eric Gray. I want to know, sounded so good, if he can be a guy that the Giants can rely on. Can he be more than just a punt returner and a kick returner? Can I see him get a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 carries and see if he's someone that can eat up yards in the National Football League? I also want to see more of Jashaun Corbin. I don't need to see much of Matt Breida, and I would never be upset if I never saw James Robinson play for the New York Giants again. I do want to see a wide receiver emerge, though. I want to see all the wide receivers outside of Sterling Shepard probably suit up for the Giants coming up this week against the Carolina Panthers. Because when you talk about these receivers, it is such a competition. And you can only really judge the competition in these games. I know you can do it at joint practices and you can do it during the training camp sessions. But I want to see what my guys can do against their guys. And when you look at the snap counts, going back to Friday against the Lions, we saw a whole lot of Bryce Ford-Wheaton. It just didn't translate to the stat sheet. Khalil Pimpleton had the second most snaps, then Jalen Hyatt. I want to see Hyatt get some reps and some run with the first and second team instead of having to run with the third team with Corey Cunningham and Wyatt Davis for protecting Tommy DeVito. That was brutal. Preseason legend David Sills. Sure, I'm okay with seeing some stuff from him. I'd like to see if Colin Johnson can bounce back after that knee injury. And I want to see more of Jamison Crowder and Cole Beasley. I want to see which one of those veteran slot receivers still has it. I believe they're both still good. I think they both can still be effective. I'd have to lean towards Cole Beasley, as I was impressed with the way he got open and got north and south and tucked up the football. It's a competition, no doubt about it. The Giants were not going to enter another season with the opportunity to have the worst receiving core in the NFL. They're probably still a bottom 10 unit, but there's at least competent pro receivers on this team. You're not going to be seeing Marcus Johnson starting and playing 60 snaps in a football game anymore. Competition brings out the best in people, and I'm glad that we have that going on right now at this wide receiver position. We've got more info to get to in just a second, but you need to take advantage of the deal of the day by going to chatsports.com/bet and get hooked up with our proud sportsbook partner, BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code chat125, and they're going to hook you up with a 125% deposit bonus. You can bet on the game this Friday. If you're an absolute degenerate like I am, bet on preseason football. It makes it a whole lot more fun. The Giants are 3-point favorites in that one. Lay some lettuce on the line and get rich with our proud sportsbook partner, BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code chat125. Let's close out this Week 2 preview against the Carolina Panthers with some injury updates. We are recording this video on Monday, so maybe some things have changed, but this is everything we know as of Monday at 5:51 Eastern Time about the injury report. Evan Neal is still working back from that concussion he sustained, not this past Friday, but the Friday before that in training camp. But he was back at practice on Monday in a non-contact fashion. Had that red non-contact practice jersey on, but it's good to see the big fella back on the field, at least getting some work in that conditioning right, and hopefully he'll be ready to go week 1. I expect him to be ready versus the Dallas Cowboys. Let's also talk about the slot corner, Cor'Dale Flott, who left the preseason game with that abdomen injury. He was also back on the practice field on Monday, which is good news. The slot corner position is still one that I believe is up for grabs, and the best man will win that competition, and it's between Cor'Dale Flott, Darnay Holmes, and potentially even Adoree Jackson. We do have more injury news as DJ Davidson has been elevated off the PUP list, the 5th-round selection in the 2022 NFL Draft, the interior defensive lineman out of Arizona State. He is back practicing off the PUP list, and he's going to be ready to go potentially this Friday. Other guys that were not at practice on August 14th on Monday, Devery Hamilton was not there, Tyree Phillips, Colin Johnson, Gary Brightwell, Nick McLeod, Cam Brown, Ryder Anderson, and Rakeem Nunez-Roches was at least there in a limited fashion. So those are guys, I don't know if I expect any of these guys on screen to play Friday, but if you're Devery Hamilton or Tyree Phillips or Ryder Anderson or Cam Brown, you may need to tough it out and try to go win a job on this 53 as there's only so many opportunities left. If any more injury news or updates heading into Friday's game happens, the first place you can find out about it is over on my Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. So give me a follow over there and stay in the loop on everything Big Blue.